All right, everybody. Today we're going to make a robot, and let me show you what we're going to do. So today we're going to use the bumper sensors. I should have put sensors because we're going to use both of them. Not just the left one, but both the left and the right. And we're going to use the repeat block that we learned about last week, which makes it loop and keep going. But this time we're going to use the repeat forever, right? And we're going to make a robot that will move around the playground forever randomly without getting stuck on a wall. Here's the idea. The robot goes, and if it hits a bumper in front of it, it's going to go, whoa, wait a minute, back up a little bit, turn in a completely random direction, and then keep going. Oh, I hit again. And it's going to keep looping like that. Let me show you what I mean. It's a little confusing. It's going to look like this by the time it's done. Now, see, I have a pen down, so it's making a line. This program's been running for about 3 minutes. And you can see the robot goes, and every time it hits a wall, it backs up and turns a random direction, hits another wall, backs up. Oh, keeps going. Hits the wall, backs up, turns a random direction, and then it goes and tries a different direction. So it just basically runs until it hits a wall, and it knows it hits a wall because it hits one of its two bumper sensors. And then it backs up a little bit, does a turn, some random direction, and then it goes and does the same thing again. It goes forward until it hits a bumper. Let's see how to code that right now. So this is what we're going to make today. And you can see, if you put a vacuum on a robot like this, it would be vacuuming your floor in your house or whatever. Now, some of them are more complex than that, but basically, that's what we're going to be working on today. And the code looks like this. All right, let's get started for that. This is one of those assignments where you're just going to kind of copy what my code looks like, okay? So this is one of those ones where you turn it in, it's going to look like mine, but I do want you to make sure you test it out and see. Run it for a couple minutes and make sure that your robot doesn't get stuck on the wall. Okay, so let's get started here. Carefully watch this video. Okay, you're doing that right now. Step 2, open vr.vex.com. Let's do that. There it is. Cool. Change the name of the program to your name and wall bouncer. It's bouncing around off the wall. Jeremy Woodchick wall bouncer. Okay, rename that. Done. Let's go back to the assignment. Open the playground and keep it on grid map. So it automatically starts on grid map, so you should just leave it right there. You could probably do it on the art canvas too, but I don't, let's just leave it on grid map for now, okay? Now I noticed in my other video this was kind of partially blocked. Make sure I move this up a little bit so you guys can see it completely. Because my picture here can tend to block some things if I make it too big. Let's move it down just a little bit. All right. Okay, I think we got this set up, and let's go back to our assignment. Follow the video and copy my steps to code a program that'll make the robot randomly bounce around the grid map playground while it draws lines, and it does not get stuck on a wall and just get stuck there, because that's what will happen if you don't do this correctly. All right, walk through this. Now this one's a little bit harder to understand, but if you walk through it step by step with me, I think you're going to get it. And let's get going on that. All right, so you can see our robot has a lot of driving to do. We don't want to wait forever, so we're going to start off by setting the velocity, drive velocity and turn velocity, and let's crank those up all the way to maximum, which is 100. Yeah, sorry, if you put it up to 200 or 150, it doesn't do anymore. Just 100 seems to be the maximum. And I want to put the pen down so we can kind of see everywhere our robot has been, and we can make sure that, it's been moving around. So let's put our pen down. I guess if you wanted to, you could change the color. I didn't do that in the first program, but heck, let's make it a red line. Okay, I'm going to make a red line this time. And now, here's what we're going to do. First of all, let's talk about what's going to happen every time this robot runs. And then we'll loop it later. We'll make it go on forever, but first let's get the part done, which is the basic behavior of the robot. Now what we learned in our previous lesson this week is that if you want the robot to go forward until something happens, like until one of the bumpers is pressed, and by the way, let's not forget what the heck we're dealing with. The robot has bumpers on the front of it. These are buttons, and when the button goes up and hits against the wall, it presses the button, and the robot knows, hey, there's something in my way. because when the button goes, it shorts that circuit, and the robot's microcontroller can detect that. In the other assignment, we only use the left one. In this assignment, we're going to use left or right. Either one can trigger it. So it's going to take a little more coding, but it's not that complex, right? It's basically saying we're going to go forward until either the left or the right, either one hits the corner, hits the wall. Either one will do it. Then we're going to make the robot back off a little bit, turn in some random direction so it doesn't just keep going against the wall again and again. And then it's going to loop and do that again and again forever. Okay? All right, let's see how you do that. Work with me here. I think you can figure this out. It's not too bad. Sorry, I have to look. I always do this, make sure I don't make any mistakes. Okay, so first of all, we're going to tell our robot to drive forward. Don't worry, we'll loop it later. We know we have to put a loop for the forever thing. But right now, let's just get one of them done correctly, okay? So it's going to drive forward. We don't want to tell it to drive forward for a certain amount. It's random. It's going to do this hundreds of times. We don't know how far it needs to drive. The sensor is what's going to tell us how far, right? The bumper on the front. So we're going to drive forward. And what are we going to do? We're going to wait. So we're going to drive forward until. So we're going to wait until. And what are we going to wait until? The left bumper or the right bumper is pressed. So if we put the left bumper in there, you could do that. But that's only going to work on the left bumper. And sometimes it's going to be your right bumper that's the one that's going to get hit. We got to do both. So here's how you do it. Here's how you get the or. First, you got to set up the or. You go all the way down and you find this one that says blank or blank. And you grab that and let's deploy that right here. So now we can actually put two things to wait for. It's going to wait for the left bumper or the right bumper. Either one's fine. Either one triggers the robot to stop. So, okay, so we're going to wait until the left bumper or the right bumper. So let's go back up and what's going to grab bumper sensing. And we're going to put out a left bumper and another left bumper. This one's cool. We need to change the second one once we get it in here to right bumper. Now, hey, if you have trouble with this, the part, when you're trying to drag this here and you try like, hey, it's not working, it's right over there. You have to get the hand that's holding it, that part, or no, excuse me, the point of this, it's that part that you put in there. So like when I want to put this in the box, I look at this little point right here and I drag that and see how it lights up, then you let go. This one, I drag that until, when I'm looking at this little point right here, there it is, let go. And let go, and make sure that one's set to right. So look, what we're doing is we're going to drive forward forever until the left bumper's pressed or the right bumper's pressed. Either one of those will trigger our robot to turn around. But we've got to make it turn around, don't we? So it's going to drive forward until either one of those buttons, and again, that's these buttons right here that we see on the front of the robot. If either one of those hits something, hits a wall, or if it gets pressed by pushing against the wall, okay, well, what are we going to do at that point? Well, at that point, we're going to reverse just a little bit. We want to pull back away from the wall so we have a little bit of room to operate. And so I'm going to pull back and I'm going to drive backwards. So I'm going to drive reverse. Let's just do it for a little ways, just a little bit, 100 millimeters. So we go, and we don't know how long it's going to go. It could be a long, long time. The robot goes until it hits the bumper, either the left or the right bumper, and then it's going to back up, and then it's going to turn randomly. Let's make it turn randomly. How do you make a random turn? Okay, you go turn right for 90 degrees, but we're going to change that. Instead of 90 degrees, you can type in any number, 2 degrees, 5 degrees, whatever. I'm going to actually change that, and we're going to put a random number in there. You can have it random, like, hey, turn randomly. So it could be any number, really. So let's go down here. Hey, look at it. Pick random. So we're going to drag out in the turn. And again, you have to look at the tip of it right here. That's what you put in there. See that? It lit up, so I let go. Now, we don't want it to go 1 to 10 degrees. That's a tiny turn. What we want to do is we want it to go any direction randomly. That's what I want it to do. Now, look, what does that mean? That means that it could go, the maximum turn would be 180 degrees. That would be a turn that's 180 degrees. It's going to go backwards. The minimum turn would be negative 180. which means, now what does that mean? If you turn right for negative degrees, you're actually turning left, aren't you? It's like the opposite of right. So this is going to basically let our robot go, and it's going to turn in any random direction. Guess what? We might get unlucky, and the robot gets 0 for the random number and keeps going, but every time it's going to change, okay? Let's see what we have so far. So we're going to do this, drive forward until the bumper's pressed. We're going to back up a little bit once it hits a wall on the bumpers, and we're going to turn in a random direction. Let's see if that works. Refresh and play. Okay. We hit the wall, we back up, and we turn. Now look, the random number wasn't very big this time, was it? It was a positive number because it did turn to the right. It didn't randomly choose a negative number because it would have turned left, but it looks like this is correct. This is what we want it to do so far. Okay, cool. Now, the last step, this is the only thing left that we have to do because we've got it working. Let's try it again to see. It's going to probably turn a different random direction. Keep waiting for it to be pressed. Okay, cool. Back up. It backed up just a little bit, and this time it got a negative number, probably like negative 100, and it turned more than 90 degrees, okay? So now all you have to do is we want this to just repeat forever, this robot just to go on and on forever. So what we're going to do is going to grab the forever loop. See this? Last time we used repeat 10 or repeat 4 or whatever. This one we just want it to go repeat forever. So I'm going to grab this, and you can put it out here and grab this chunk. That's the part that we want to do, right? And put it in there, and then slide this up here. The easier way to do it, you know, that's probably the way that makes a lot of sense to me. But the easier way is you can grab forever, and if you drag it out and put it right above the drive, it should snap around all of the stuff we want to repeat. Do we want to repeat every time setting the velocity? We don't need to. We just need to do that at the beginning of the program. We don't need to move the robot pen down except once at the beginning. And we need to just set the print color once, or excuse me, that's the pen. I got that wrong, didn't I? That's why it's making a black line. It should be pen color, not print color. Sorry. Set robot pen color. There we go. This will give us some red lines instead. And so this is the basics. And by the way, if you caught that mistake earlier, good for you. I didn't catch it until just now. All right, let's do it. And you know what I'm going to do for this part? When we talk about it first, I'm going to slow it down so it's really slow, so I can talk you through what's happening in the code. You could keep yours at 100, but I just want to show you, okay? My robot's going really slow, takes him forever. I'm going to pause this and then unpause it later. Okay, we're back and our slowpoke robot is going. We've done all this. It's driving forward until the bumpers get pressed. They're almost there, aren't they? Then it's going to back up 100 millimeters. Oh, it got pressed, backing up, random turn. Oh, now hold on, what happened? Wasn't a very big turn, was it? Another random turn, not a very big number randomly. Hits the bumper, backs up. Let's try again. So it's kind of stuck in the corner, but it's not. It's actually trying to get out. It's just rolling really bad random numbers. It's getting unlucky. Oh, here's a turn. There we go. We hit the wall again. Let's turn again. There we go. Now we got randomly, we're going to go out this direction. And it's going to go. Has it hit anything? No. So you notice the code is stuck right here. It's moving forward until one of these two bumpers is pressed. Either the left bumper or the right bumper. Either one will be fine. And then once it hits this wall, it's going to reverse and turn in some other random direction. Okay? Let's pause this. So now we're back, and finally the slowpoke robot is almost to the wall. It's definitely going to hit the left bumper this time, and that's fine. It hit the left bumper, it backs up, and now it's going to pick a random turn. It's turning some random direction from negative 180, which is completely left turn backwards, in between anywhere, or it could be completely right turn backwards, or anything in between, which means it could be any angle. This time it's going to hit the left bumper. It's going to back up 100, choose some other direction. Now it might keep hitting the wall. If it, yep, it did. It chose it randomly went to a bad direction, but it doesn't matter because our robot will run forever like this, right? So it goes, and now it's just stuck in this loop forever. Notice that the code will never go back up to this part. It's always stuck in this loop. This program will literally run all day if you let it. right? So there you go. This is a part where we want to stop. I'm going to set this up at 100 and let's watch it run at full speed. Whoops. Oh, and actually, you don't even have to reset it though on this one. The robot really could start anywhere. It doesn't have to start right there. But you can see we got red lines. Move backwards, bounce to a random direction. Move backwards, nope. Hit the bumper, move backwards, turn a random direction. Bumper hits wall, backwards, random, backwards, random. Okay, see, so it goes really quickly there because it's getting stuck in the corner. Yeah. So every time either the left or the right bumper on the front of the robot hits, and I could leave this on. Let me leave this on. I'll pause this and we'll come back to it in a second here. Okay, we're back now and I've unpaused it and check them out. My robot is still going. Same program. It's been running for about 4 minutes now while I took a break. And you can see it's still going. And if I let this go, the program seems to work. It's probably going to run, I don't know, about forever. Maybe something might happen that didn't work, but seems like this program is a working program. Okay, so now I can stop that. And you know, this program is kind of interesting. You can play this program after you stop it without resetting it. It's just the robot's going to go forward that direction, which kind of makes sense. So this is kind of unique. You don't have to reset it like the other ones if you don't want to. You can keep this running for a long time. And you can experiment. Like if you want to pick different angles, like, oh, that's too much. I don't want it to turn around completely backwards or whatever. You can play around with that. If you want it to reverse more, that might make the program a little more interesting, you know? So you can play around with those variables. But remember, this is probably how it should look. So let's go ahead and let's turn this in. You're going to share that with Mr. Woodchick. And because we put the name of the file up here, it's going to be named correctly. And here we are. We're going to go to the wall bouncer assignment, submit assignment. This will pop up at the bottom now. Didn't look like anything happened, but it did. Choose the file, and it should be in your downloads. Oh, here it is. Jeremy Woodchick Wall Bouncer PDF. Of course, yours is going to say your name, not mine, I hope. Unless your name is the same as me. And open that, and then you're going to click Not Yet. We're not done. You have to submit assignment. And it takes a second, and it'll upload to me. All right, guys, that'll do it for this assignment. Thanks, everyone.